Hey, what's going on, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so in the midst of all the frustration about the Lakers, I forgot to report the news. And the news is pretty interesting because we're bringing in two centers, and as I've been asking the Lakers to do, which is bring in some big men to help Thomas Bryant so that he can have a legitimate backup for the time being, because we cannot count on Damian Jones to be that center, and we know that even though Anthony Davis is someone who can play center, he would rather not play center. So I don't pencil him in as a center. Not to mention that his injury issues keep you from having a big man too, obviously. So you want as much size as possible in the modern era. It's not just a shooter's league. It's not just a little man's league anymore. You got to have some size. You got to be able to get offensive rebounds. You got to be able to block shots and have rim protection and stuff like that. If you don't, you get what the Lakers had last night in Christian Wood blocking shots from behind and stuff like that. So the Lakers are on the right track in my mind. Two of the centers that they're trying to bring in are guys that, well, I don't know if they have too much value. This is the problem. The Lakers are bringing in assets, but the assets don't have value. So once you bring them in, it's like if they can't do nothing for you, you're basically dead weight. As to which, if you bring in an unproven player and he develops into something, that it will never be the case. So that's why I'm of the mindset, like, if you're going to get a center, go get some youngsters, man. Go to the G League and grab one of the guys that you refuse to play. Get Jay Huff up here and show us that he can do something. Don't just say, oh, he can't guard the perimeter, and then sit him down and never use him. You know who else can't guard the perimeter? Rudy Gobert. You know what he just went for? Stop playing with me. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, the Lakers don't know what they're doing. This just further proves that, but they're going after Boogie Cousins and Myers Leonard. Now, Myers Leonard, we'll talk about him first because he got into a little trouble, man. I guess he did something offensive. Period. I'll leave it at that. And because he may have did something offensive, he might have been extradited or blackballed from the NBA, but it seems like the Lakers want to give him an opportunity. At the center position, I think it would be a decent idea to bring in a center. He's a young center, so this is along of the lines that I'm considering makes sense in terms of, I don't think he's, but probably 26, something like that, 25, 26 years old at this point. I've seen enough of him in the past to know he can catch some lobs, block some shots, rebound the ball, shoot the three, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm not getting him mixed up with someone else, but I know Myers Leonard shot the three, and more or less is someone who can do some things for you. But the questionable nature of what it is that he's been dealing with makes it so that it's kind of controversial bringing him in. So what does that mean? I don't know. I'm lobbying for bringing in Kyrie Irving, so I don't know what that means. But what I can tell you is that's the dynamic. And the other guy's Boogie Cousins, of whom we know has had his issues in a way, but not so much as of late, obviously. But the issue there is more so about injury issues and age, and what you think he can give you at this point. Now, we know Boogie's been trying to find his way since he went down with some terrible injuries back when he was playing with the Pelicans and AD several years in the past. But, you know, jumping around between the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, the Denver Nuggets, the Milwaukee Bucks, it's just been kind of hard for him to stick to a situation for whatever reason. I think it has to do more so with health than anything else. He's just had some horrible luck with lower leg injuries, not lower leg injuries, but just leg injuries and stuff of that nature. So it's kind of tough, man. But Boogie's in shape right now. He's ready to get started. He's going to be working out with the Lakers tonight. And even though most people don't remember it because he was injured for the majority of his tenure here, he was actually a part of our 2020 NBA championship team. Now, mind you, I think he might have played one game in the preseason, and that was probably it. But what I do remember about that unit is that he was very much present every single game, on the flights, in the bubble. He was there. He was there for a lot of it, if I'm not mistaken. Was he in the bubble? I don't remember if he was in the bubble or not. I don't remember, honestly. But I know he got a ring for that, for his tenure with our team. I don't know if he actually made it to the bubble. But the majority of the time, he was with the team. The year before that, he was also with the team trying to make his way to our squad, and he just could not get healthy for our franchise. So the Lakers know him. He was basically a mascot for that championship team, and we want to bring him in, just to see if he has anything left to assist with our ball club. Obviously, the minutes would be scarce for either of these guys based on just how the Lakers are set up. We had a situation last night where we didn't even run a center, and it looked to me like we needed one. So there's no guarantee that there'll be minutes available to this person if we were to sign them. But given that we can give away 10-day contracts and the fact that the Lakers have so many needs, I think it's logical to try bringing guys in. I don't, it's not like they're guaranteeing that they will sign either of these dudes, but to bring them in to kick the tires to see if they have something for us, I think it's wise. I don't think there's anything wrong with having people try out. The question is, do you give them a roster spot? And so that's when we start wondering if we want to go in that path or not. But for me, I look at Boogie Cousins as somebody, and we've talked about this recently, probably as recently as maybe a week ago. I look at him as a specialty player who can do a lot for me. I can ask him to be a spot-up shooter, a catch-and-shoot guy, and I think he'll be able to hit probably 35 to 38%, maybe even more, depending on how he's feeling. His legs are going. He's a guy who I can ask to specifically come in and look to draw fouls against other bigs, even though he's not the same size as he used to be. And I don't know how quickly he can get up and down the floor anymore or what have you. But that would be something I'd be looking for him to do, come in and use his cerebral ability to be disruptive. And also, if I need a point guard on the floor, for some reason we don't have one of our point guards down there to help assist the ball and help keep continuity and flow, I do believe that he can do that. I believe he can do that. And I also think he's fantastic in passing lanes and being disruptive with fantastic hands. And he has an amazing touch. So you would expect for him to be able to hit bank shots and mid-range buckets and things of that nature if necessary. Occupying the paint, it just depends on the conditioning level and where he's at. And like I said, I haven't seen him in years. So for all I know, there's nothing left. But even if there's nothing left, Boogie Cousins is still someone that I expect can hit an open shot. So if you leave him anywhere, chances are he can hit the shot. If I need free throw shooters on the floor, I trust him at the line. You see what I'm saying? So I look at him as somebody, if nothing else, if I have to give him 5 minutes of garbage time, efficiency will be fine. Continuity will be fine. Leadership and basketball IQ will be elevated. So for me, bringing in Boogie Cousins is always going to be solid if he has something to give you. If he has nothing to give you, just like anybody else, so that's what you're trying to get him to work out to see if there's anything left in there. But as far as his IQ, I look at Boogie. I'm not gonna even lie to you guys. I look at Boogie as almost like a basketball god. You guys, like honestly, I remember him when he was in his early stages with Sacramento. That dude didn't have no holes in his game at all. And what he was able to do was extraordinary. He wasn't no regular dude at all. Go back and look at some of his numbers when he played with Sacramento. He was doing stuff on both sides of the floor that was superior to pretty much anyone in the league during good pockets at a time. It was almost like he was a Jokic version. As you look at Jokic now, he was kind of like that back then, but in a different way with heavy scoring, less assists, but still like extraordinary numbers every single night. And you're like, Jesus. But the problem was injuries and his head. He would get in his own way. So imagine Jokic with like the most flamed personality and like a Dominican like tendencies. It's like, nah, that doesn't work. So it overshadowed just the sheer dominance of his talent. But the dude, I mean, at the time when he was in his prime, it might have been 3 or 4 people more talented than him, maybe 3 or 4. So that's what I'm saying. It's like he's not somebody like you're looking at bringing in Meyers Leonard. It's a role player. Yeah, he's going to be solid. If he's in shape, he can help you. But you don't expect him to really do too much. But if Boogie Cousins has a flashback night, the other team lost because he was on your team. It's that simple. It's one of those type of things. And when I think about, just kicking the tires on certain players who are older and don't necessarily project to have a lot left, I look at the style that Boogie played with, and I realize he could play low to the ground. He doesn't have to get off the floor. He doesn't have to necessarily push people around to be a professional on the basketball floor. His talent in other areas will keep him effective. And so it's like Paul Pierce, different players like that. I think about Joe Johnson, players like that, Zebo, guys who could probably play right now. If you put them on the court in the YMCA, they're going to cook anybody right now just because their fundamentals are so insane. Jay Crossover, you know what I mean? Players like that, you put them on the team right now, they're going to kill. And that's another thing. I'm starting to wonder if what I'm seeing in terms of players not having the greatest basketball IQ, if it wouldn't be a bad idea to bring a veteran to this ball club that has that as a specialty in their game, that understand these things a bit better than anybody on our team. Because I'm telling you, it's a huge hole. You can't ignore the fact that this Los Angeles Laker team is the worst closing basketball team in the league. You can't ignore the fact that we have so many close games that we cannot win because we don't know what the heck we're doing out there. You know what I mean? And so if we can find our way in that regard, I really do think it'll add a lot of wins to this team this season. So that's something I've been thinking a little bit about over the last couple hours. It's just like, yo, that's a real deficiency as well. We can talk about shooting, we can talk about size and wing help and things of that nature. But there is something that we need to be concerned with, and that's basketball IQ and closing and concepts of that nature. So we saw a lot of deficiency issues with that last night. And for us to have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and all these supposed to be super Hall of Fame players on this team, it shouldn't be on Darvin Ham to make all the right calls in regards to these type of things. You know, I'm looking at everybody, and I'm saying, if we're all not being humble to understand that this is something that we need to attack in terms of our weaknesses, just like shooting the ball and things like that, then we're just going to continue to fail in what it is that we're doing. We got to attack all our weaknesses. And so the Lakers are a bad closing basketball club, and they have some new things to learn and maybe some new people to bring to the table to help them do that. Because this was a mess last night. You know, the Dallas game was a mess. The Philly game was a mess. The Indy game was a mess. The Celtics game was a mess. Both Charlotte games were messes. I mean, come on. How many close games this team lost? And it's a lot more than that. So, yeah, that is an area of need for this basketball team. So that is what I wanted to say, man. I just wanted to give you guys a little update on the news that I know about. Myles Leonard and Boogie Cousins are going to be working out today. I don't know who will be offered a roster spot, if either. I don't know. But it does make me happy that we're trying to address the center position. Simply put, we only got one on the roster. So, sorry, Damian Jones. It is what it is. If they ain't going to use you, you might as well not be there. Call up Jay Huff. Call him up. I don't think we should give up on his career. I don't think that. Why? Because I have yet to see him shoot a 3-point shot, and that's what he does. He can do that. So for all the things that they say that people can't do, it's the same thing I told you guys about Lonnie Walker before the season started. Don't tell me about what a guy can't do. Put him on the floor and let me see. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I was saying about Lonnie all summer long. They were like, oh, Lonnie can't defend. Lonnie, he's the worst player the Lakers ever. Why did they give him the mid-level exception? I don't understand. Lonnie's just projected to not really do nothing. And I'm just like, can we get him here first, though? Can we get him here first? And then when he gets here, he wows us all. We're happy with him. Hopefully we can re-sign him. And this is one of those things where I'm looking at Jay Huff and I'm saying the same exact thing. I'm like, look, I saw the same thing that everybody else saw. Him trying to run out to the three-point line and having absolutely no success guarding the three-point arc. I know that that's a huge deficiency of the player, but he can shoot the three to make up for it. If you let him give enough reps, that's in his game. For every three he can't guard, he can make. So when you consider that coupled with his superior ability to guard the interior, we've talked about this in the preseason and in the summertime, what he did in the summer league. During the games that he was able to play, probably the first 4 summer league games, was effectively make the Lakers look like an impossible team to score on in the interior. All them little dudes that we're using in the summer league were having no success against this man. Every single time they drive in the paint, he was blocking and contesting everything they were doing, and we were winning every game. Until he got hurt, and we couldn't win nothing. He was able to come back for one game, same dynamic, we won. He was removed again. We didn't win anything else. That was the dynamic of the summer league, the entire summer league. He was the star. And they didn't give him a long enough opportunity this season to really see what he could do. And the functionality of what it is that I know he did well was never showcased, which was having him in the paint being impossible to score on. And when I look at that Boston game, Lord knows I forgot who the player was, but they put him on the floor Cornaz. I don't remember what the man's name is. Forgive me. But a center that they have on their team, they put him on the floor against us in the fourth quarter down the stretch, and he was able to contest shots and keep us out of the paint. Guys like Russell Westbrook and all that. We were trying to win that game and could not get past this dude. And even in the pre-game video of that game, I was telling you, this is the person y'all need to pay attention to. I wish his name would come to mind. But same dynamic. Guys don't have to be overly talented. They just have to be fundamentally sound and be able to guard the paint and keep the players that are driving in there out of there. And that's the functionality of a guy like Jay Huff. So I just think if you play guys to their strengths, just like I say about Wenyen Gabriel, just like I say about Damian Jones, lobs and weak side help for Damian Jones as his strengths, let him do that. He's going to play well. You know what I mean? But if you ask guys to do stuff they can't do, they ain't going to be looking as good as you need them to look. Simplify the game for yourself, you make it fine. So that's what I want to see us do. Call Jay Huff up. And in situations where we got teams that want to score 71 points and 102 points in the paint, because those teams exist, given the fact that teams are scoring 150 points a game, you can put him in the game in those specialty moments, and they will have trouble scoring on him in key possessions. I'm telling you. These are things the Lakers can do if they put their thinking caps on. But, you know, they're looking in the wrong directions and listening to the wrong people. And to follow BDF 44, let me give you some suggestions, if nothing else. Listen to what it is that I'm saying here. We have players on our farm system that can help us with the problems that we have right now. All we got to do is call them up. I say it 1,000,000 times. And I'm hoping somebody finally hears it. Boogie Cousins, Miles Leonard, whatever, man. That's cool. I promise you it's fine. But what's even better is just calling up Jay Huff and just using him. Like literally just using him. And then whatever level he's at, bringing him to a higher level. And if you want, you can trade him. Or if you fall in love with him like we did Thomas Bryant, you keep him. But you never know what guys can do until you play him. And how many times have we made this mistake this season? Throughout the beginning of the season, how many players have we seen just pop up? Oh my God, he can play? Yes. Yeah, he can play. Yes, Max Christie can play. Yes, Wenyen Gabriel can play. Yes, Thomas Bryant can play. Yes, Jay Huff can play. You see how this goes? BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.